Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the C.R. Lawrence SRPPH01 in a BN finish. It's brushed nickel. This is a Senior Prima 01 series top and bottom hinge or pivot in a BN finish, a brushed nickel. Going to be available in all of the common finishes, and I'm looking at a screen here that will list them all. Let's pull that down here so we can see it. Many finishes. I'll go through them. ABN for antique brushed nickel. Antique brushed nickel. ABR, antique brushed. ABR, antique brushed. I'm not sure what finish that is. Let's take a look. We're driving at in terms of the antique brushed is to say that it is an antique type looking color that you can see there from the item. ABRZ, antique bronze. BBRZ, brushed bronze. BL for black. BN for brushed nickel. BR for brass. BSC, brushed satin chrome. CH for chrome. GN for gunmetal. That's a neat color. GP for gold-plated, ORB for oil rub bronze, PN for polished nickel, SB for satin brass, SC for satin chrome, SN for satin nickel, and WC for white with chrome accent. And there is a difference between the BN and the SN. The brushed is literally going to be, it will have a look of a brushed type finish. A couple of fingerprints on this. And this pivot is heavy. Let me tell you, this is a serious piece of hardware. It weighs 3 pounds, and it's basically solid brass. So we've gone over the different finishes that are available. Now let's take a look at this item. This is top or bottom mount. This is not a set. Be mindful of that. When you buy one, you're getting a top or bottom mount type of unit that's here. Okay. This is for use with half-inch glass. This is a Senior Prima, and the advantage of a pivot like a Senior Prima is that the weight of the material is borne by the ground. Half-inch glass is going to be really heavy, obscenely heavy, and I don't know that I would I certainly wouldn't consider installing it with typical hinges that are going to grab onto a jamb or another piece of glass or a side light. So the majority of the weight is held on the bottom pivot. These have the ability to be inset from the wall, enabling clearance for towel bars and other projections. I think what they're saying there is they have the ability to be inset from the wall, meaning the vertical axis of pivoting, it's reasonably going to be this center point here. I can kind of get that to turn so we can see what it looks like. So that's your vertical axis of pivoting. The point is, if I were to have that door open at 90 degree like it is now, moving it inset from the wall when the door is at the 90 degree position, the clearance from the inside of the glass to the wall is what is going to permit you that space to get your material installed, your towel bar, your pull bar, things of that nature. The glass to fixed transom mount pivot hinge is used for doors having fixed transoms above. When placed vertically, either style can be used in movable transom installations. Oh, okay. So they're saying when you install it this way, you can literally use this hinge to give yourself a movable transom when they're installing it vertically. These are self-centering with 4 springs for maximum retention strength. It takes some effort to get that to move, but it is self-centering. Okay, we'll come back to center. For use up to half-inch glass, will hold glass up to 145 pounds with a maximum door width of 3 foot wide. That's awfully wide for a shower door. Glass thickness, again, half-inch. Top and bottom mount allows more glass exposure. When you're taking those hinges and moving them, gives you more open space in terms of the height of where you're looking into the unit or into the enclosure from your perspective. You know, if you're 7 foot tall, yeah, you're going to see the pivot. You know, if you're laying on the ground, yeah, you're going to see the pivot. But when you're standing at natural height, more of your door will be clear, visible to you. Made of solid brass, and that's what certainly drives the cost. This is all solid brass. I can't say that. I'm going to say that it's all not solid brass. Your fasteners, and I'm sure there's some sort of mechanism inside that may be stainless steel, but this is all cast brass. Nothing magnetic on that. The fastener is brass as well, or at least it's, yeah, and even the set screw that are in there, which is a part of the assembly of the unit. It's nothing you adjust. Top and bottom mount gives more glass exposure, can also save on glass fabrication costs when compared to side mount glass to glass hinges, requiring more cutout. This will certainly require a cutout, but a typical hinge, this is going to require a notch. A typical hinge is going to require a notch, but with mouse ears is what it's called at the outside corners, and those mouse ears are there to literally prevent the door from coming out of the hinge altogether. It's a mechanical stop. Because the prep is less complicated, they're saying the cost will probably be less, if anything. Full rotation, you can take that door and spin it 360 degrees if you wanted. Will self-center when you get to within 15 degrees of the closed position. Again, a cutout is absolutely required. There is a link below this video to a document called Cut Sheet, and that's nice because it's going to give you the machining requirements for this hinge, forgive me, which are of course included with the unit itself. Okay. There is also the cut sheet there. The document that we have there now is titled Template, and then there's the cut sheet. There are two documents that are there. Looking at the cut sheet, it's a summary of what we've discussed. You're going to get your gaskets that are going to be required. Okay, black neoprene rubber gaskets to install the material. You're going to get a couple of screws to get you started at least with an installation. You'll notice that you have Phillips here on the screws. You may not want that. You might want an Allen head. They're going to send you the Allen head screws separately. You would use the Allen head screws and a wrench, an Allen wrench, if you had an application where you didn't want any tampering or wanted to reduce the possibility of tampering. If you were doing a high-end health club and you had a shower enclosure, yeah, you're probably going to go with the Allen head screws would be, you know, the recommendation there. The balance of the cut sheet, again, is an overview of what we've discussed. The only new information is not to use an abrasive cleaner on the hardware. This is solid brass with a plated finish on it. You're not going to want to work that away at all. So you'll want to avoid abrasives, chemicals as well. Obviously that material is not going to be any abrasive chemical is not going to be compatible with your neoprene gasket. You're going to want to check the integrity of your gaskets when you're doing standard maintenance. They do fatigue. It's not unheard of for a client to call and say, I installed this door 10 years ago and my gaskets are starting to dry out. Well, what happens when they fatigue or dry out, the glass starts to move inside of there. And some clients even get to a point where there's nothing but those mouse ears that are preventing the hinge from preventing the door from completely removing or leaving the hinge altogether. So you want to be mindful of that. That template does show you the idea of where they're located. They will give you the gap, top and bottom, of what you need to pre-fit your size. They do not tell you a dimension from the edge. You can determine that yourself. And based on what your glass installer is going to want for you to have happen. They do indicate a question mark in terms of how far over you're going to install it. That is going to be left up to you and your fabricator's expertise. I couldn't imagine it needing to be any more than a couple of inches or any less. But again, you could move it over a little bit further should you need to get that door to the open 90-degree position and provide that clearance as necessary. All shower enclosure hardware from C.R. Laurence has exceptional fit and finish, and the only shortcoming you're seeing is the fact that hands touched this before it got to me, and I didn't wipe it off before this video. But when you clean this with a proper soft cloth, it's going to be magnificent. And being solid brass, it's going to be incredibly durable and extremely long-lasting, as in the life of the installation, with the only long-term maintenance being the integrity of the gaskets. I would certainly keep my eyes on those. The glass, because of that huge notch, is not going to necessarily leave, but it can move, slip, slide, make contact with something else. The wall, a jamb, another piece of glass, a side light, the transom, the sill, whatever the case might be, so be mindful of that. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the C.R. Laurence products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website. Ooh, gosh. Some dimensions. The cut sheet shows that information to us. Looks like we've got about 3 5/8 overall height. Well, that's not right. 3 and 3/16 overall height. We've got 4 3/4 overall width. Yeah, 4 11/16. Overall thickness of that hinge looks like it's about 15/16. A glorious piece of hardware from C.R. Laurence. If you have any questions on the SRPPH01 and a BN finish, their Prima 01 series, Pivot, or any other C.R. Laurence product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.